Well, there's a horse of a different color. St. Joseph, Missouri. Here we are in St. Joseph, Missouri. We are enjoying the day. Visiting a few museums. Checking out the wonderful sights. I don't think so. It's the next couple of streets down, isn't it?
Slow down, Speedy.
Museum Hill. You got some old buildings here. Beautiful old buildings here in St. Joseph. I don't think this is it up ahead. I think we have to go right. I could be wrong. Yes, I am wrong. Now this right here is the Wyatt Tootle Mansion. It's quite the place right here.
Toodaloo.
Been there before. It's a very wonderful place. But today, we're on a mission. And the mission is... What's the mission again?
The Patee House Museum.
You got to see some of the houses in disrepair, boarded up windows. Very old. All the wonderful brick.
Oh wow, that window's missing up there.
Lots of stuff. Yeah, who wants to live in a house that does not have windows, Matthew said. I agree, Matthew. I would say windows are a wonderful thing to have for a house. Wow, look at that. That's got some character. Being restored presently. And behold, the Patee House Museum in St. Joseph, Missouri. One of our old favorites. This is the Patee House Museum in St. Joseph, Missouri. And I invite you to come along today. It's the Patee House Museum. It was built in 1858. Everybody should modify their motorcycle to sound like gunfire. It works great. Patee House Hotel, 1858. Restoration of this front portico was a 1976 bicentennial project. Mrs. William and J. Bingham, great-granddaughter of John Patee, contributed to the restoration in memory of her father, Harry Patee, grandson of John Patee. Patee House has been designated registered National Historic Landmark in 1964. Well, hello. How are you today? Doing good? We got 5 people, 2 children. Let's see. Uh-oh, sequence error. Well, hello again.
Two adults and 1 student, and 2 preschool. Art collection. On the 2nd floor is the Grand Ballroom and the Model Railroad, and on the 3rd floor is the 1860 hotel room.
Excellent.
And beside the train depot is the Buffalo Saloon, and behind it is our carousel.
Okay.
And next door is the Jesse James home if you're interested in that.
All right. All right. Thank you. As you enter this part of the building, you see that this is the original location of the Pony Express. From 1860 to 1861, this area of the hotel was the Pony Express headquarters. Still have a lot of the furniture and a lot of the memorabilia and even a saddle. 1960 Centennial rerun mochila. This museum for the Pony Express Museum, was relocated to a dedicated museum space here in St. Joseph. The buffalo, American bison, was a daily sight for most Pony Express riders. The buffalo didn't enjoy life in St. Joseph. After moving here from Oklahoma, this buffalo once escaped for 2 weeks while a buffalo hunt took place in Buchanan County, finally shot and processed for its meat in 1950. Owners Alan Schreiber left Bill Schreiber Center watch as the errant buffalo is captured the first time. And here is the journey that many of the riders would go on from St. Joseph on the little red LED trail to Sacramento, California. Somewhere we'll be visiting soon. And here we are in the Patee House streets of yesterday. A beautiful mock-up of what it was like to be on a main street in the 1800s. They had the drugs, the medicines, the pharmacy, a barber shop. And what's great is you can walk through here and feel what it was like to be in an old 1800s pharmacy. Pretty neat. Some historical Hollywood reminders that this place was used in the Young Riders ABC television show. Here's some pictures. Yvonne Suhor was given a role as a fictitious female pony rider. In real life, only young men were pony riders. Ty Miller was one of the young pony riders in the show. And Ty Miller walked around the neighborhood. It's not how I imagined it. We recreated things as it's scripted, but this is how it was. And some a little more famous, Josh Brolin.
He's even crazier than we thought. They got buffalo guns and fresh horses. We got little firepower and not a lot of cover. What's all that talk, Cody? You scared?
A young actor when in St. Joseph. He has since become a well-known movie star with such roles as at George Bush in the movie W.
General, not an offense? How are you going to contain 100,000 of these lunatics running around the world with fake passports from country to country looking for nukes? Anthrax. Containment don't hold water as far as I'm concerned.
And there's a movie poster for the Young Riders. Coming to your town soon. And that's located here in the pharmacy. Next, we enter the room of the barber shop. Got to get your hairs trimmed sometime. Put your feet up, you lean your head back, and you get your hairs trimmed. Next up, we get the post office, the original Amazon, delivering all the mail. Cool, old-timey cash register. Some mailboxes that look very similar to the mailboxes of today. An inkwell collection. This we have the old-timey bank. There's one of the burglar alarms we just saw yesterday. The R.L. McDonald Shirt Factory, located in this building, paid their employees in cash in the 1890s. On February 21st, 1891, cashier W.F. Kershaw and driver went to the Park Bank at 10th and Penn in a factory wagon for the weekly payroll of about $1,500. Upon returning to the factory's front entrance, he was attacked by a man with a club before he could enter the building, and after a brief struggle, which spilled onto the sidewalk, the attacker wrestled the sack of money away from Kershaw. The wagon driver went to assist him, but the robber pulled a gun on the men. He then ran to a wagon across the street where an accomplice waited, and they made their escape. Driving northwest away from the building, Kershaw, badly injured, made his way upstairs where he alerted the office. The police were called, and some workers took off in pursuit, but the bandits escaped. Toward the end of the year, Bert Siley was arrested in Los Angeles for his role in a train robbery in the St. Louis area. He was brought back for trial, passing through St. Joseph on the way, and Mr. Kershaw identified him as his attacker. While Sly was convicted and sent to prison for the train robbery, he never served time for the McDonald payroll heist. And there's the vault. There's nothing in there, just like today. St. Joseph Gazette, the newspaper, the media of the day. The music store, pianos, organs, Victrolas. Great place. Love music stores. I don't play any instruments, but I do love to sing, as you probably have heard on some of these videos. But that's just the way it goes. There's an old-timey oculist and aurist giving people some new eyesight, new eyeballs. It's quite helpful. One of my favorite, photographer Rudolph Ullman, had an office in St. Joe, North St. Joe. A little bit of information about him. Probably put a lot of portraits on the walls of people who lived. Some great photography. Great camera collection for those who like photography. And all the different things that came with it, including the film, the camera cases, all the stuff. And then they have a mock-up of a house here, including Linda's garden. It's a Victorian home. Lived in this 1877 home, 10008. I should say 1008 North 2nd for 50 years. The house was dismantled during construction of Interstate 229. And this is how they lived back then. Ladies' sewing table. In God we trust. True. It's a nice silver spoon collection for those who have been born with a silver spoon in their mouth, this is the kind you would have. This is the Chair of Doom, or just an entryway chair with coat racks. And a nice tidy little restroom. The metal tub. There's the water heater. And the toilet. Then we enter the kitchen room. Wonderful kitchen. That's a hearth, the fireplace. A rifle above the hearth. Back door. An universal stove. Firewood, of course. This had running water. Pipe pulling up the water from the well. Little kitchen cabinet for china. The music room for entertaining guests. R.L. McDonald General Merchandise. Oh, hello. This is a general store in the St. Joseph area, filled with all types of goods. What do you think of this general store?
I think it's very interesting to see all the different types of items that would be sold at a general store. Except I do see something that doesn't fit in, but...
What would that be?
Laundry soap.
Extra? That doesn't belong here. Did you put that up here?
I did not. I don't think back in the 1800s they had tropical passion chemical smells.
Oh. Get some tobacco, some razors, pencils, pens, something to write with, something to tell time with, some candy, some clocks, some lamps, an unapproving Indian head. Patee House Museum also has a story of true crime, things related to crime and history. This is a shirt worn by a teller working in the Park Bank, which is only 2 blocks from the Patee House. This pin illustrates the bullet hole that pierced through his shirt. Stories on bank robberies, kidnappings from 1953, a lynching in 1933, and the actual piece of rope used to lynch, Lloyd Warner. Also in the true crime exhibit, we have a display of cockfighting. Cockfighting accessories. These were called spurs, and they put them on the feet of the roosters that they would fight. Very common thing. A lot of gambling going on. Very violent to watch roosters fight, especially when they had these appendages placed upon their feet. Jesse James. Was he a killer? Some people claim that he only killed 1 person, and they died by an accident. The train accidentally derailed and overturned. But this documents 18 deaths related to Jesse James. Students that were killed during a bank robbery, and various people who were in the way of bank robberies or train robberies. And people got killed when Jesse James came around. In this cage, which is part of a jail, we got some illegal weapons. They caught me in a lie, see? You caught me in a lie. With that polygraph, they got me. They got me, you see? Here we get some old weapons, mace up here. We got some billy clubs, some confiscated knives, swords, and even some walnut knuckles and brass knuckles and various different kinds of knuckles, along with some guns. Illegal weapons, shotguns, sawed-off, modified weapons, and billy clubs. This is the last legal hanging in St. Joseph in 1904. His name is Mark Dunn. Weapons, a kerosene can that helped him escape the jail. It says in this dark history of Mr. Mark Dunn, the last hanging, his neck was broken twice when the sheriff Spencer pulled a lever to drop the body about 7 feet. The 38-year-old claimed he was innocent but lost an appeal to the governor. Dunn married a Rushville woman in 1901. Earlier, he lived on a Missouri River sandbar, making a living by hunting ducks. A native of North Carolina, he claimed to live in Ohio, Missouri, Iowa, St. Louis, Kansas City, Denver, and Muskogee. He was a house painter and a cowboy in Texas, New Mexico, and California. Dunn's body was turned over to his wife, who buried him in Ashland Cemetery in St. Joseph. These are the guns that were confiscated by the St. Joseph Police Department. Many of them were in crimes that were committed in the area. Great collection. Many different styles, types of weapons, Colt revolvers of every kind, Derringers, Richardsons, even a Japanese World War II revolver. A European-made .32 caliber, pre-Civil War, even a palm pistol. Last time I seen a collection like this of these weapons and guns like this was at the House of the Rock. This case says Jesse was just the beginning of murder weapons here in St. Joseph. Weapons in this case have resulted in the deaths of 25 local people. This knife was used to stab Caesar Carriger. This one used against James Stratton. Madeline Robotham was killed at the entrance of Crag Park when her ex-boyfriend used this weapon against her. 3 killed, 2 wounded in shootout with police. Chris Heller, a butcher, was robbed and killed at the shop, 6th and Sycamore Streets, by this revolver. This hammer, used against someone. This hammer, cut someone down. This axe took a lady's life. This hammer was used so powerfully that it broke off. This drill, let's just say we won't go into the details of what they did with this drill, and other weapons of various sorts, including a shotgun. In 1971 this was used. Here's a case of burglary tools used in the early 1900s, from knives, screwdrivers, and ground up spoons to use as keys. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. There's an old-timey ice cream shop with a delicious cake, some draft soda. And once you visit the ice cream parlor, you're gonna have to stop by the dentist office. Walter Cronkite. This display is all about Walter Cronkite and that he was from St. Joseph. This place brings me peace. Lights, camera, action. A lot of activity of famous people here in The museum, related to the Patee House. Jack Palance and the museum director, Gary Chilcote, examine an antique gun. And Ripley's Believe It or Not, movie star Jack Palance and his TV crew filmed here in July of 1983. The story of Jesse James was televised on ABC TV on October 23rd, 1983. The segment on the lottery was carried nationally on January 8th, 1984. Coordinating the St. Joseph filming, Joel Frederick, a former St. Joseph doctor known here as St. Dr. Joseph Friedman. The author of the Brad Pitt movie, The Assassination of Jesse James. Jack Palance and Jack Haley Jr. listened to Carolyn Chilcote play in the museum's Buffalo Saloon. Motion picture money. Buffalo Saloon for the Discovery Channel's Outlaws and Lawmen. Jamie Colby, the host of Fox Business Network's reality series Strange Inheritance, filmed an episode about Jesse James in a museum on February 2nd, 2017. Museum staff member Doug Chilcote wraps a Pony Express letter in oiled silk for the Entertainment Group's documentary on the Pony Express. Bill Curtis of Curtis Productions films a documentary for A&E on the Jesse James home. Comedian Alex Raimondo of Comedy Central rides his motorcycle for a scene behind the Patee House Museum. American Pickers, Mike Wolf. Willie Davidson, grandson of the founder of Harley Davidson Motorcycles, takes a spin on the museum's Wild Thing carousel. Golden Gate Productions crew wave a tree limb to add background for a shot of the Jesse James home for Arts and Entertainment Network. Is interviewed for a documentary comparing Ken Rex McElroy with Jesse James, an American Movie Channel show for 2019. Cinematographer Arnie Serlin films the wedding of Jesse and Z James for the Discovery Channel's Outlaws and Lawmen. Playing Z is museum staff director Carolyn Chilcote. Jesse is played by Marty Lawrence. We also had the Young Riders, Steven Spielberg's DreamWorks writer Mike Hussein, and the crew film background scenes in the mail car. It's an 1860 Baldwin steam locomotive. Firebox. Oilers. Brake, accelerator, all of it right here. Trying to document this museum. It's a real challenge. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of things that, well, absolutely, if you're a history buff, if you like to learn about trains and the history of places like St. Joe, this is the place. It is absolutely chock full of history relating to trains, planes, automobiles, old Wild Western things, anything from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. And inside this train depot that's actually inside the building. Not the world's largest ball of twine, but it is pretty large. Amazing. And here you can really get a feel for what it was like to be back 100+ years ago at a train. Hey, bells and whistle. See if we can get the pump to turn on. Pump's on. That one needs a little more air. Get your shoes shined here. Beautiful old potbelly stove. Here's a Model A Ford, Sarah. What do you think of this? Does it look like a fun car compared to yours? Does it have air conditioning? No! How about power steering? You don't even know what that is, do you? Here's the saloon, the Buffalo Saloon. 1854. Need a drink? What are you doing there, Buffalo? We got Nickelodeon here, I think. And it's going to play. That kind of creeped me out. I didn't see you there. Very short. Second level though. Gotta have the balcony. Now that's a longhorn steer setup. 6 foot 1 inch. 1900s. And if you go up the stairs, you'll see that the balcony is only for short people. 5'4" and under, and maybe well-behaved visitors. Just your average everyday Model T car in the shop. This one might not be repairable. It's an Awuka horn. One more time. Oh, that's all. Transportation part of the museum. Fire trucks, old trucks, federal truck, a Fiat, and another Model T truck. And this here is the carousel room. Drink Dr. Pepper, king of beverages, 30 cents. Oh, it's empty. carousels 85 years old. And all the animals are hand carved by carousel carver Bruce White, who's a St. Joseph native. Wolf. Ah! Dead on the floor. Sunday night tragedy. The McDonald overall factory. Mr. Corbett's awful fall. His neck was broken by a drop from the 3rd floor. Died in the building where he had made his home for over 20 years. He came to the one big building as clerk in the World's Hotel. When a hostelry occupied the structure, the dead man was 77 years of age, single, and had no known relatives. Coroner's inquest. This is the staircase with the only known death that happened, the only documented death that happened from falling down these stairs by a 77-year-old employee of the Underall factory that worked here. How many stars on that flag? Civil War flag. Here we have some of the ominous parts of the collection. A horse-drawn hearse from the Amos Funeral Home, the Johnson County, Kansas Museum. Here we also have a second hearse from the Patee Mortuary, Oregon, or I should say Oregon, Missouri. Last used in 1927. And what museum is complete without the mortician storefront, I should say. William Seidenfaden, plain and decorated wood coffins and undertaker goods. An important part of life is something not many people like to talk about, but these coffins were donated by the Johnson County, Kansas Museum and came from rural Buchanan County. The coffins were made by Boyd Oliver, a farmer who used his cherry trees. He made 365 before his own death in about 1895. A century-and-a-half age coffins were made to fit the person. They were simple, yet they were elegant. Oh yes, and he was a cabinet maker, not a mortician. But if you like the mortician stuff, they do have a real embalming kit. What did you bring me, my good friends, to keep me from the gallows pole? The gallows that were never used. The Buchanan County Jail built this, but never used it. On September 3rd, 1861, the train from Hannibal was approaching the Little Platte River, 10 miles east of St. Joseph. At 11:15 p.m., near the end of its run from the Mississippi River, it carried soldiers, civilians, including women and children and freight. conductor Steve Cutter wasn't aware that guerrillas had burned the bridge approaches, making it appear safe. The heavy locomotive crashed through the first span, followed by the baggage, freight, and passenger cars. 17 people were killed and over 100 injured. Abraham Lincoln visited St. Joseph twice in August and December of 1859 before he was elected president in 1860. Lincoln was fatally shot by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater, April 14, 1865. And here is the version of the top hat that he wore, along with his spectacles. These are one of my favorite things to do here. Oh yes, you saw that. Light and power. And you have the power to turn it on with this little button. Don't forget to visit the train room. Can't help but enjoy seeing these trains go by. Sometimes it's the little things in life that just bring you joy. There's a third floor to this museum, and it's the hotel room part of the museum where you can see and experience what it was like to stay in a hotel room in the 1800s in this building. So this is a carriage room. Kentucky long rifle. Museum's closing. I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you had an enjoyable time with us as we explored the Patee House Museum here in St. Joseph. And it's always a fun time. There's so much to see. Couldn't even try to record it. I have tried many times, but quite frankly, it's too much for one visit. We come often because there's a lot to see, a lot to read, a lot to learn about our history, about the St. Joseph history. And that's what we're doing. So let's head downstairs where my children await, waiting to leave the museum. And that's it for us today here at the museum in St. Joseph, the Patee House Museum. You would not think it's much by the name, but man, this place is one of the best museums I've ever been to in my life. And a lot of interesting things to see and read and explore. And this place is massive. It's hard to capture how big this place is. And I highly recommend you visit also the Jesse James House and Museum and this tea room that's over here. It's a Japanese tea house. And it's absolutely beautiful. You should visit. And here it is, the St. Joseph steam train. It's a very large train. Very large. The 5614 Burlington route. steam locomotive. CB&Q 5614 steam locomotive. Built in July 1937 in West Burlington, Iowa by CB&Q at a cost of $99,285. Giant train. Giant. It's one of the biggest trains in the world. A 4x8x4. Actually, it's what is it? An 05B is what they call it. It was retired from active service in 1957 and donated to the city of St. Joseph in 1962 by the Burlington Northern Railroad Corporation, formed in stock, sold to raise money to pay for the moving of this giant locomotive into its present location. So what are the parts of this train? So right there, we have the water compartment and half that car. And that's where they keep the coal. It's going to get a little crunchy here. All the leaves are still out. And we have the stoker, or the firebox, inside there. The steam dome is right up there. And before that, that big giant dome, it's not a ray dome, it's a sand dome. And the smoke box all the way at the front of the train. The pistons, I'll show you that in a second. The boiler is in the main part right back in here, this part of it. It's just a very giant version of the model that you saw in the Patee House Museum. So it has the 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 2 more to pack. 4, 8, 8, 4. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be very wrong. I'm guessing by counting the wheels. These are the pistons that drive the wheels. You can see the drive arms that push the wheels. Those are the pistons. And that up there is the front and the lantern, the lighting of the train. What an amazing train. It's giant. It's huge. It's like me. So here we are, enjoying this old steam train here in St. Joseph, Missouri. And there's one like this that was restored, the Big Boy, and that has actually been touring around the country. So you should look into that one. That's an interesting story of that train, the restoration of the train, and all the things to do there. St. Joseph is absolutely full of history, and as you go along here, you realize, even with the beautiful history of it, it's a troubled town. It's a troubled city. The city, every time I come here, it just seems like there's a depression over this city, and there's a lot of drug abuse in this city. There's a lot of alcoholism, drug abuse. Homelessness is high here. Poverty is high here. And it's sad because it's actually a beautiful city. It's located up on hills. And let me just share that with you. Trying to zoom in here and look upon that hill. You can see all the houses. The Patee House is only a few blocks that way. And there's other museums that way. And it's a really neat place. But today, Timken is a bearing manufacturer. They manufacture bearings, but they've been around a long time. It's rusty. It's well used. It's painted to hide all of the corrosion that it is. And it's really neat. And for the kids, they have a little playground over here. It's made to be looking like a Wild West town where the kids can come here and enjoy themselves. It's got the rubberized floor, prevent them from getting injured. A few slides and a really cool train with a train slide. Should be a lot of fun, guys. Bring your kids. And that is the giant train located here in St. Joe. Really neat to see. You don't see too many of these. And when I do, I get all excited. And I used to not care about these at all. They just didn't interest me. But when I had my second son, it became more interesting. I think it's him. I think the Lord put that in me so I could spend more time with him and enjoy trains. Today it's a little too cold for him to come out, but that's okay. And before I go from this park, I just want to show you the Pony Express stables. That's the Pony Express Museum. And this is the Pony Express Museum. It was started in 1959. Been saying 1800s a lot. But it is a museum for another day. Should be fun. And if you need a place to stay while you're staying here at the museum, here you go. It's the Pony Express Motel. I don't know if it's still operational, but it still has a beautiful sign. Visiting a steakhouse tonight. Metropolitan Steakhouse, established 1999, a long time ago. Little steakhouse across from the big house. And there's the big house across the state highway, state penitentiary. But over here, the Metropolitan Steakhouse, established in 1999. And there we got a bowl. Enjoying the steak pasta for a kid, apparently. Another steak, baked potato soup, another steak. But thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining our family on these adventures that we go to the museums across Kansas and Missouri and wherever else we decide to go, and hopefully we can go even further and experience things like this, and trains, planes, automobiles, and travels, museums of every kind, and all the peculiarities of this earth. So God bless you. Have a great evening or morning wherever you are, and we'll see you in the next video.